It's my pleasure to introduce Mark Selby, who's the Chairman and CEO of Canada Nickel. His topic, of course, Canada's Nickel's Crawford Sulfate Nickel Project. It's an incredible project. It'll provide the next generation of high quality and high potential nickel cobalt projects to deliver the metals needed to power the electric vehicle revolution here in Timmins.
I'd like to thank Mayor Peary for the introduction, and thanks for the opportunity to present to FONOM about Canada Nickel and our Crawford Nickel Sulfide project, which we believe is one of the most exciting discoveries to happen in many decades in Northern Ontario. The project itself, it provides a tremendous opportunity for Timmins and the greater Northern Ontario region to help play a key role in the EV value chain in Ontario and across North America. I'd just like to talk about a few dimensions of the project just to really underscore, what a multi-decade opportunity we believe our project is. First off, in just 18 months of exploration, we've already turned it into the 8th largest nickel sulfide resource globally, and I'll talk about the potential we have to make it even larger. Thankfully, not only is it a great deposit, but we're in a great location just north of the city of Timmins, sitting next to a highway with all the major infrastructure in place. Again, the great thing about the Timmins region is you've got a substantial population base and industrial base, which really does support the construction of a large-scale operation of the type that we're contemplating for the Crawford project. And again, having access to a local workforce, that isn't going to be a fly-in, fly-out type operation, which, obviously adds to the overall cost of getting that labor into the camp. We have very strong community and First Nations support. Specifically, we've got MOUs in place with Tequah-Tagmu Nation, Matagami First Nation, and Matachewan First Nation. And our MOUs with TTN are contemplating, what we believe, the next generation of First Nations resource company MOUs to look like. We have one in terms of a power distribution agreement where TTN is actually going to invest their capital to construct the local power distribution within the project site itself. And then a second MOU where we're going to look to work together with TTN to look at our overall fleet financing package and work together to come up with a lower cost financing solution that would not be available to just the mining company, but working together with TTN to access the different types of capital and various loan guarantees and so forth that are available for First Nations businesses. Again, we hope this is a new template for more First Nations and resource companies to find ways work together, that again create, to create wealth and help protect their lands for many generations to come. I think that the fact that really underscores what a great location Timmins is that if you drew a 200-mile radius around the city, you would have 4 of the 6 largest gold or base metal greenfield projects that have been permitted in the last 15 years. So you've got a Cisco to the southeast, you've got the Dumont project, which I was involved in directly to the east, you've got Detour to the northwest, and then you've got IAMGOLD's Côté project to the southwest. So again, I think that all the things I talked about in terms of infrastructure, population, and industrial base, are really key drivers of really making that happen. One of the other dimensions of our project that I would really like to highlight, and I think is going to be is a big benefit not just for our project, but for the further industrial development of the Timmins region. We're very fortunate that the rock that hosts our mineralization is made up of minerals that, when exposed to air, spontaneously absorb CO2. So if you think about, in a world that's very focused on decarbonization, having rocks that literally eat CO2 when exposed to air are going to be a very valuable property going forward. When you combine those CO2 eating rocks with the fact that all the electricity in the region is all zero carbon hydroelectricity, it creates the opportunity, in our case, to produce what we believe will be zero carbon nickel cobalt products and zero carbon iron products. But with the kind of carbon credits and the ability to look at potentially using our tailings to effectively scrub CO2 from various industrial processes, the opportunity to create a zero carbon industrial cluster, based around the tailings and waste rock that we're going to be generating from the mine, and then taking advantage of all the other key facts that Timmins has to bear. So I'm looking forward to continuing to advance Crawford, to hopefully deliver what will be a multi-decade operation that'll create jobs and opportunities for generations of people in Northern Ontario.
The next individual is Robert Masseau. He's principal of the Commercial Bioenergy and, of course, the president of the Abitibi Institute here in Timmins. The Ontario government recently released a draft forest biomass action plan that will help the forest industry in Ontario reach its full potential. The plan will help to identify pathways to markets for forest biomass, support the demand for forest bioenergy bioproducts, and improve the business and regulatory environments for the use of biomass.
Hello, my name is Robert Masseau, and I'm principal of Commercial Bioenergy. Commercial Bioenergy is a new firm that started about a couple of years ago, and it's our principal mandate is to create heat from woody biomass. And woody biomass is essentially wood from the forest industry, from the forests, and it is used to supply heat or fuel to heat plants that are built to provide thermal energy or heat to institutions, schools, hospitals, and municipalities. We started this thing a little while back to make sure that there was an alternative solution to green energy that also helped augment the forest industry in Northern Ontario. We're located here in Timmins, but we also have operations in Sudbury, and we are planning to build heat plants in Moosonee, in Kapuskasing, in Chapleau, in areas where essentially natural gas isn't found. It's important to note that biomass is starting to build as a reliable, stable, and alternative fuel to carbon-based fuels. And our expectations and hope is to provide a complete thermal solution and bring that to Northern Ontario, that we can begin the process of creating circular economy at the local level. This is positive clean energy. It's technology that has been brought in from Europe, and it is exceptionally efficient, and it is coming into Canada at a time where senior governments as well as municipal governments are looking to expand on green tech so that they can mitigate their carbon position. The idea that we have moved forward with green energy isn't just rooted in the provision of technology for making sure that we're green. We want to be able to save municipality and consumers significant money through the utilization of local woody biomass. And it's important to note that our fuel source comes from the existing industry. It comes from sustainable sources. Because it comes from sustainable sources, it is rated as carbon neutral, and thereby hits with the requirements to avoid carbon taxes that are going to come, and they're going to come in significant pricing. We are not equipment salesmen. We don't want to sell equipment. We want to be able to bring thermal solutions to our client base. And that's essentially building a heat plant and finding customers for the thermal heat that they purchase in increments of kilowatt hours. A meter is put on the buildings. It's a district heating approach. And at that point, monthly bills are issued and are paid not unlike current hydro or natural gas bills that are generated monthly. A very important element of our approach is grassroots economic development. We want to make sure that the benefits of this fall to the communities, its agencies, and to Northerners completely. So what we do is we partnered with First Nations. We partnered with colleges. We partnered with forestry companies. All of the elements to ensure that the start is in play to create the long-term benefits of the circular economy that everybody seems to be looking for. We want to make sure that these plants are efficient. We provide the financing, we provide the development, we provide the fuels, the maintenance, and all of the elements that come about. Too many times in the past has biomass been promised as a solution, and each time that that promise came, it has not advanced. And the reason it hasn't advanced is because, at least in my opinion, nobody's taken it on the way that it should be taken on, where we come to you and to the consumer with an actual energy source, and you only pay for that energy that you consume. That way, risk is mitigated. It is a commercial relationship, and it is based on surplus and thereby becomes sustainable in itself. It's very important to us that we start this project softly, that we demonstrate our early technologies so that we can back it up and ensure that what we say is actually going to happen.
Our next presenter is Paul Rivet. He's the incoming chair of the board at Green First Forest. With this acquisition, Green First becomes a top 10 lumber producer in Canada. This purchase secures the future for our mills and sets the course for sustainable growth in the north.
Hi, my name is Paul Rivet, and I'm the incoming chairman of the board here at Green First. I want to thank His Worship Mayor Peary from the City of Timmins for the invitation to virtually speak with you today and send warm regards to each of the representatives of the 110 cities, towns, and municipalities that make up the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge that I am speaking to you from the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. First, you might be asking, who is Green First? If the name Green First is new to you, that's all right. It's a new name for a new company. What we lack in familiarity, we more than make up for in experience. We have deep expertise in the acquisition, turnaround, and operation of sawmills. Our team includes industry veterans with over 100 years of combined experience in the forest products industry. In October of last year, we acquired a sawmill in Kenora and recently announced plans to acquire softwood lumber mills in Cochrane, Chapleau, Hearst, and Kapuskasing, a newsprint mill also in Kapuskasing, and 2 additional mills in Quebec. Once the deal closes, hopefully by the end of the summer, Green First will be among the top 10 lumber producers in the country. So maybe you might be asking now why Green First feels Northern Ontario is a good market to invest in. So let me just give you a few of our thoughts. In many Ontario communities, forestry jobs are the heart of the economy. This fact isn't lost on us. The main reason that we've decided to invest in Northern Ontario is our team believes there is and will continue to be great opportunity for us to build meaningful relationships and profitable businesses over the long term in all of the towns where we operate. To us, meaningful relationships means jobs, support for local towns and municipalities, partnerships with other local businesses, and most importantly, a commitment to the communities we're in. We understand that a lot of you will have seen businesses come and go, And I want you to know our goal at Green First is to invest for the long term. We believe in building businesses the right way, with strong partnerships that last, including with our partners in the Indigenous and First Nations communities. Another thing you might be interested in is our commitment to a sustainable forest industry. We believe in sustainable forestry management practices, and that's part of the reason for the name, Green First, to help reduce greenhouse gases and to maximize biodiversity and forest health. As you know, forestry isn't only about the lumber. Byproducts from lumber production can also be used to create alternate forms of energy with net zero carbon emissions, including chips, bark, and other forms of biomass. There are also substantial spin-off benefits in this area, and we are actively looking to build additional value-added facilities to support our mills across Northern Ontario to maximize the use of the forests we operate in. At Green First, we are committed to sustainable forest management and enhancing forests we operate in, and to energy efficiency measures in all of our mills, and our goal is to respect the land, the air, and the water we all need. If I could close up by saying that we know this has been a tough year. With COVID, we have all seen our friends and family, much less than we would have liked. And it's been tough too on the businesses your communities rely on and the jobs they provide. Our team at Green First believes we can bring opportunity and growth to Northern Ontario, and we look forward to speaking with all of you and your councils as soon as we can. All the best for the health of you and your families during this very difficult time. Thank you very much, and be well.
It's my pleasure to introduce Pat Chilton, a personal friend and CEO of Five Nations Energy. They're the only 100% owned and licensed Indigenous electricity transmission company in the country. And moving forward, they're looking forward to the possibility of developing 30+ river systems that could work for hydroelectricity and provide the electricity, of course, to, in fact, power the green revolution.
My name is Pat Chilton, the CEO for Five Nations Energy, Inc. We've been in existence now since September 1997. We've been we're a licensed electrical transmitter with the Ontario Energy Board. We like to say that we're the only 100% owned, solely owned licensed transmitter, Indigenous owned in the country. So we say that with some pride. Like I said, we incorporated in September 1997. We constructed the line from Moosonee up to Fort Albany, Saskatchewan, and Attawapiskat, and became fully operational in early 2003 to those communities. Each of those communities, as a result, kind of set up their own LDCs and are providing the necessary work within their own communities. Part of the construction of the line also included the optical ground wire that provides fiber right to the communities. And as a result, a spin-off of that came Western James Bay Telecommunications, and they're doing great work. And sometime this year, I think they'll have fiber to the home if the COVID cooperates. Fiber to the home and all the other buildings, including health centers and hospitals, and so that there's better communication. So that's one thing we're very proud of. But it's 270 kilometers of line constructed through, the muskeg and the forests up along Western James Bay. What we've noticed as well too is that the spin-offs from Five Nations Energy in existence is that we contribute quite a bit actually to Sudbury. Our budget runs around $8 million a year. It's paid directly from with approved rates from the Ontario Energy Board and the ISO. It's not no government money, so to speak, coming in because we get paid like on Hydro One gets paid. We're a very miniature. Well, very small in comparison to Hydro One. But we also have jobs. We train our own people. We're a very small operation, but we do contract out to the LDCs if we need some line work done. But we send our people up regularly to the substations to make sure things are operating great. We contribute to Timmins, and I think we taxes. Our building here is on 655, right behind the hospital. So we contribute quite a bit to the economy of Timmins and to the surrounding area, and also to the communities of Moosonee, Port Alberni, Saskatchewan, and Attawapiskat. As well, we're looking at other things. Five Nations development, we're looking at biomass. We also look at the potential, I guess, hydroelectric potential within our territory. There's 30 plus potential run-of-the-river opportunities, I guess, that we could take advantage of. Again, it's the whole thing of whether or not we have partners to work with on that. The other is the political will of our leadership. The one good example is that we work with Coral Rapids Power to construct the Peter Sutherland Senior Generation Station, which was a 28 megawatt, $300 million budget that we completed in early 2017. So that's fully operational, and the Tequitagama First Nation or Tequitagama Nation is reaping the benefits of that. So there is potential. We do have the experience and can work with partners if we're willing, and if there is the political will of the leadership, the First Nation leadership in our territory.
Our next presenter is Ted Griffiths, and he's been involved with the agriculture sector for quite many years. I know Ted for personally, and the agricultural sector is going to be a key to the diversification for Timmins and the north. The great Canadian clay belt has over 10 million acres of arable land, which is more than Manitoba has. So we expect that it's going to be a big part of our future.
Good day and hello. And to Mayor Peary, thank you for inviting me to join you and the leaders of Northern Ontario. The region is full of opportunities, and the one I'd like to speak with you about today is agriculture, specifically large-scale agriculture in the clay belt. Agriculture has the potential to add a third economic pillar in the north, joining forestry and mining. This is not just about growing food, but also processing it in the north, as the road, rail, and power networks are already in place to not only grow food, but take that food to market in Canada and internationally. In the clay belt today, there are over 1 million acres of arable land, all of which is privately owned and on the traditional territories of First Nations peoples. To address this opportunity, we need to rethink how agriculture is developed. Agriculture at large scale can be a scary term, as it brings images of clear cutting, monoculture growing, non-farming owners, and an intensive use of water and fertilizer. But that's not the vision of the Ontario Clay Belt Development Committee. That committee, made up of 12 municipalities in northeastern Ontario with the endorsement of 4 First Nations in the region, that committee sees this opportunity differently. Yes, it is a vision of large-scale agriculture, but through a business entity that is owned by municipalities, First Nations, and capital investors. Because to develop 1 million acres of land into agri-food production, you have to buy and lease the land. It has to be tile drained to extend the growing season, and all that will require an investment of billions of dollars. So of course, that's not going to happen all at once. But in order to begin to build with that goal in mind and create the thousands of new jobs and businesses that come at such scale, such as farm machinery dealers and maintenance and expanded veterinary services, fuel, seeds, fertilizer sales, etc., you've got to start somewhere. For the Ontario Clay Belt Development Community, it all begins with a comprehensive business and operations plan. So that's going to begin soon. Under the leadership of the Clay Belt Development Committee and the support of NECN and the Timmins Economic Development Corporation, once the funding is finalized from the provincial and federal governments, the business planning process will begin. The business plan will ask and answer the hard questions, many of which you may already be asking yourselves, such as, what foods do Canada and the rest of the world want to buy, and how can the clay belt best produce them? What crops and where do we grow them? What livestock and where do we raise them? What is the right size operation to start with, and how should it grow? What are the environmental standards that must be met, and could we even exceed them? What's the best ownership model for municipalities, First Nations, and capital investors? How do investors make their money back? How does each community benefit? And how do we attract and train workers, not only farm labor, but the skilled labor and the technologies that drive so much of agriculture today and will only increase in the future? And of course, there's many more questions that will be answered as well. But the end product will be a business plan that all communities, municipal and First Nations, will have the opportunity to invest in and make real. That business plan will also be used to attract a pool of capital investors, such as pension funds, that are anxious to put their money into long-term agriculture development and food production. Once the government's funding is approved, which should be shortly, the process will begin. Northern Ontario's new agriculture future is coming to the starting gate. Thank you.
Well, I hope you're excited as I am, having listened to those presentations, that in fact will explain the story as how in fact we're achieving the goal of being green and global and growing not only in Timmins but in the whole region. This is an exciting place to come back to if you've left here to get your education, and come back here and to find your future, because it's here in Timmins and in this region.
People always want to move towards Toronto and Ottawa because there's so much opportunity, or it seems like there's so much opportunity, but they've become incredibly saturated markets. I think if you're looking for opportunity, you should look for demand, and Timmins doesn't lack demand. We have a lot of it.
So I think the biggest opportunity that I had moving back here is that Timmins is a gateway to the north, and that it's a hub for northern communities. So a lot of people come from all over to do business here.
Timmins is kind of the Toronto of the north. So places like Chapleau, Hearst, Cap, Smooth Rock Falls, Cochrane, even up the coast, Fort Severn and Attawapiskat, they're all traveling to us to come to medical appointments, to come shopping. So there's really a huge opportunity there.
I love that in Northern Ontario, we're lucky enough to have activities like snowmobiling, snowshoeing in the winter, and in the summer, camping, blueberry picking. There's always something to do.
Being in Timmins, the biggest thing for me is friends and family. You know, half an hour drive away from the cottage after a long week of work. It's great.
The one thing I love about being back in Timmins is just being involved within our community and helping it grow and succeed.
Qu'est-ce que j'aime le plus de Timmins, c'est que je peux respirer de l'air naturel. La vie est simple ici.
So I think there's a ton of opportunity for anyone that wants to go into business for themselves here, or start a family, start a life.
I think it's the sense of community that we have in Timmins. It's the people that are here.
It really feels like a family, even if you're not from here. There's always somebody there for you.
I definitely feel it's given me an opportunity to be more of a big fish in a small pond than a little fish in a big pond.
It really is the city with the heart of gold, because there's been an overwhelming amount of support and love, and I am so thankful for every opportunity Timmins has given me.
I'm Kelly Masioli. I'm back. I'm in.
I'm Brandy DeBastos. I'm back. I'm in.
I'm Mike Fink. I'm back. I'm in.
My name's Amanda Skribnick. I'm back, and I'm in.
Mon nom est Elisa Bertrand. Je suis revenue et j'y tiens. My name is Caitlin Sinkus. I'm back. I'm in.
I'm Tom Vesna. I'm back, and I'm in.
I'm Brianna Demers. I'm back. I'm in.
I'm Michael Dusion.
I'm Krista Green.
We're back. We're in.